This is a video on my 2006 Mercury Grand Marquis. I love this car. I wanted to do a video on it before I get rid of it one day, and before you just cease to see these on the road. They're going to vanish at some point because it's not really a collector's item. It's not something I think people are going to restore. You're not going to see them at car shows or anything. They're just going to be gone. There's not much of an appetite for big sedans like this in general. I don't even know who still makes one, if anyone. I think the Malibu was one of the last sedans on the road, but just look at the size of this vehicle. I don't know how long it is, but it's a big car. It's comfortable. It's got massive trunk space, really comfortable seats. It just is, in its own way, it's an American classic. It's a V8, and I was lucky enough to pick this up for a reasonable price a year ago. It only had about 32,000 miles on it. I live in the Northeast. This is from Florida. It had almost no rust on it, to the point where the mechanic at the dealership who was inspecting it wanted to know what southern state I got it from because it was so solid. So let's do a quick walk around as Kaiser watches me from the back seat. And you can see the wheels are covered with the old school hubcaps. That one's a little damaged up there. They're curiously expensive to replace even now. Tough to find. Got the kind of gaudy molding on it. It's corroded. I've thought about replacing it, but I thought that the way it inserts right there would probably give me a hard time as just someone who's not skilled with the minutia of auto body repair. And I just had new tires put on it because I chunked one. Could have still ran them for maybe another 5, 6, 7,000 miles, but I got brand new tires. I plasti dipped the front corroded chrome trim. I don't like the way it really looks that much, so I decided to not do it on the back. Yellow headlights are getting replaced within a week or so. I just ordered them replacements, and I've about had it after tolerating that for about a year. I used some of the quick fix recipes that you see online. One of them was even a commercial product, and they didn't work that well. I think they're screwed up from the inside out. I'm not dealing with it. They weren't that expensive, so I just bought 2 and they're in the mail. This just popped out. It was loose when I bought it, and I just bought one of those for short money, so that hopefully is here this weekend. So the marker, or the fog light, that's going to get replaced. Here's the big old Mercury. Basically it's a Ford, but the Mercury grill and logo. And the only place the paint is really compromised on this car is right there. And I believe there's a little of the True Coat kind of coming off right under the handle there. But other than that, it's in pretty good shape. If you want to take a look at the interior real quick, you can see that it's a pretty clean car. I put these covers on it, which attract dog hair, so that was probably a mistake on Kaiser. But I had a couple of things fixed, one of which required that they remove my dashboard, and I think that accounts for the now cracking that you see here next to the vent. And it's kind of popped out. I've tried putting it back in place, but it just kind of makes the crack worse. It was a heating situation, which I think had something to do with an actuator switch. It was actually somewhat of an expensive job. They had to pull this whole dashboard out. But anyway, it's in pretty good shape. The compass up there is kind of a joke. It's kind of me paying homage to my my grandfather. He used to do that in his old man Oldsmobile of comparable size, and walking around just to get a look at the driver's side. There's a couple of other cosmetic things here that are irritating me. Paint's chipping off right there off to the left, if you see that. And this is coming off. There's a clip under there that's broken. I'm going to try to maybe use some double-sided tape to put that back. But other than that, it's a really clean vehicle in really good shape, given that it's a 16, 17 plus year old vehicle. And they just don't make roomy cars like this really anymore. This is kind of SUV-esque front seating. And when you put the armrests up right there, I could fit a third person in the front, but these seats are just massive. It's just so comfortable. I don't want to go so far as to say they're like easy chairs or stuffed chairs or recliners, but nothing like what I've sat in a car. And the back seat is, even with this divider, this thing that's falling apart, I'm going to put a better one in here to keep the dog out of the front seat while I'm driving. I mean, he's 50-something pounds, and to say he fits comfortably back there is an understatement. He's quite cozy back there on our road trips. So the space is just, it's unmatched. The trunk space, I'm not going to pop the trunk and show you all the crap that's in my trunk, but this, I keep all of my extra gear back here. I keep a full spare tires in the back. I keep a overnight bag. I keep some tools. I keep some work clothes, an extra set of boots. I mean, if I had to, I could fit a full foot locker still. Nobody uses foot lockers, but just for space comparison, I could fit a full foot locker still in the back of this car, despite having all these other things already kind of stuffed back there. It's just so convenient, and the car drives amazing. It's just such a comfortable ride, and it's quiet for the most part. And if you don't mind rear-wheel drive, I mean, I drove this for so long, I can drive this in the snow no problem, but as long as you have good tires on a rear-wheel drive car, you don't need front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive to operate one of these in bad weather. You don't. If anybody tells you that, it's not true. I'm not suggesting that front-wheel drive isn't typically better, and obviously four-wheel drive is the most ideal, but you can drive a rear-wheel drive vehicle like this, especially if you have a little weight in the trunk like I do, with good tires. I have expensive tires on here, no problem, particularly if you're an experienced driver and you know what you're doing. So for me, this just checks so many boxes. It gets about 20 plus miles to the gallon on the highway, which is comparable to a new truck I just bought, a mid-sized truck, and it's comparable to many vehicles on the road now, unfortunately. But it has a V8, and it's got a little extra power if I need it. So yeah, my 2006 Mercury Grand Marquis, in which I get 0 style points, but at my age I don't think that matters. And I'm going to keep this going as long as I can, even if it needs more repairs. I think I've had to put about $3,500 into it since I bought it for various things, maybe a little more now that I put the tires on it. But it's been worth every penny. It's my commuter vehicle. I can use it year-round, and when it comes right down to it, though it would break my heart if something happened to it, you know, if it gets overworked or damaged or, God forbid, in a bad accident, you know, I'm not really worried about it. So it allows me to use some of my other vehicles. I have a sports car that I can take out on the weekends, and I have a nice truck that I can use for maybe some of the longer road trips that I need to do, that maybe I want some creature comforts that aren't in this vehicle, or if I need to use the truck for more utilitarian type things. It allows me to save those vehicles from the wear and tear of a daily commuter. And Kaiser's digging it.